Eric Clapton's name is definitely among the greatest musicians of the 20th century. He's been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 3 times, for goodness sake. But great art often comes at a steep price. Here's the true tragic story of how Eric Clapton made it to where he is today. When Clapton was a preteen, his world turned upside down when it was revealed that the people he thought were his parents were actually his grandparents, and the woman he thought was his older sister Patricia was actually his mother. It turned out Patricia had become pregnant with Eric at the age of 16 after an encounter with a Canadian serviceman named Edward Fryer, who was stationed in England during World War II. According to the book Guitar Gods, the revelation hit Clapton hard. He became moody and distant, but at the age of 13, he found a place to channel his emotions. After being mesmerized by the sight and sounds of Jerry Lee Lewis performing Great Balls of Fire on TV, he asked for a guitar for his birthday. Making music soon became his primary hobby. Many years later, Clapton wrote the song My Father's Eyes about his absentee dad, who died in 1985 without ever meeting Eric. Clapton told the Ottawa Citizen, "I never met my father, and I realized that the closest I ever came to looking into my father's eyes was when I looked into my son's eyes." Clapton became so obsessed with playing the guitar that he was eventually kicked out of art school for failing to complete his assignments. Working for his grandfather by day to pay the bills, Clapton joined a band and played gigs at night. His first band, the Roosters, lasted less than a year. He soon joined the Yardbirds, but quit the same day their first top 10 single came out, unhappy with the band's new mainstream sound. After a pair of influential stints with the Blues Breakers, Clapton joined the new supergroup Cream in 1966, launching him to international superstardom at the tender age of 21 and spawning the Clapton is God meme that still lives on today.
When you think of God, you see Jesus.
No, man, it's Clapton.
Oh my God, man. I drew Clapton too.
Success doesn't mean happiness, though. Even gods get depressed. By the late 1960s, Clapton had become addicted to heroin, and as if that wasn't bad enough, he also fell in love with his best friend's wife. The friend was none other than legendary Beatles guitarist George Harrison, and the woman was Pattie Boyd. According to Boyd's autobiography, Wonderful Today, things came to a head when drunk Clapton played a new song he had written for and about her, Layla. When Harrison asked what was going on, Clapton said, "I have to tell you, man, that I'm in love with your wife." That led to a crazy incident where Clapton showed up on their doorstep and challenged Harrison to a guitar duel for Boyd's love. Without a word, the two musically battled for 2 hours, but though Boyd said Clapton won the face-off, she stayed with Harrison, and Clapton continued his descent into drugs and alcohol, at one point reportedly spending an incredible $16,000 a week on heroin. Clapton hit rock bottom in 1976 with a public meltdown that still haunts his legacy today. During a 1976 concert in Birmingham, England, an inebriated Clapton went on a racist and xenophobic rant that included the statement, "England is for white people." Public reaction was swift, with fellow musicians speaking out against Clapton and forming the Rock Against Racism movement. For his part, Clapton has since apologized for his outburst. He told Rolling Stone, "I just have to face the guy that I became when I was fueled on drugs and alcohol. It's incomprehensible to me in a way that I got so far out." In 1977, Harrison and Boyd divorced after years of marital issues. 2 years later, Boyd and Clapton finally married. It should have been perfect, especially since Clapton had finally kicked his heroin addiction. But it didn't work out. Though he was off heroin, Clapton was hitting the bottle harder than ever. The couple also had issues conceiving children. That would have been painful enough, but Boyd later learned that Clapton had not only been cheating on her, he actually fathered children with 2 other women. Clapton and Boyd separated and then finally divorced in 1989. There was one upside to Clapton's difficult personal life. In 1986, girlfriend Lori Del Santo gave birth to their son Connor, which eventually prompted Clapton to get completely sober, as he didn't want his son to see him drunk. In 1991, though, Clapton and Del Santo experienced a heartbreaking tragedy when the 4-year-old Connor fell 49 stories to his death. The boy was playing in a Manhattan apartment when a housekeeper opened the window to clean it. Connor reportedly ran past the housekeeper and straight out the open window. Clapton wrote in his autobiography, "I remember walking down Park Avenue trying to convince myself that everything was really all right, as if anyone can make a mistake about something like that. Even after seeing the police and paramedics and identifying Connor's body, he was still in disbelief. Clapton was traumatized by his son's death, eventually channeling his grief into the classic song, Tears in Heaven." After a history of rocky relationships, death, and addiction, Clapton finally found the family life he always craved. In 2002, he married Malia McInnery. Together, the couple have had 3 children, all girls, and he's even become a grandfather. Clapton described his surprisingly domestic new life to USA Today as a quiet time in the country. It sounds like he doesn't love today's pop stars, though. My girls go to school and meet other kids who will talk about a certain pop star, and that has its own life. What I try to do is redirect by playing in the background or having music in the background: blues, country music, New Orleans jazz, opera, classical. I think it's important that they hear old music. Welcome to old age, Gramps. In 2016, Clapton revealed that he had been diagnosed with peripheral neuropathy, which can cause numbness, shooting pain, and a lack of coordination in the extremities. Luckily though, so far Clapton is mostly experiencing the symptoms in his legs rather than his hands, meaning it hasn't affected his ability to create and play the music he loves. And in 2018, Clapton revealed on BBC Radio 2 that he is suffering from both hearing loss and tinnitus, which can cause a high-pitched ringing in the ears. He said he has no plans to retire though, as long as people keep coming out to see him. I'm hoping that people will come along and see me just because, or maybe more than because, I'm a curiosity. It's amazing to myself that I'm still here. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more grunge videos about your favorite musicians are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.